usually only sew for myself, and on occasion I'll sew something for my husband and it's gifts for people. But I've never been commissioned before, until now. Sorry for the weird lighting. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Cardiff, but we won't complain. Everything you're about to see has already happened, the wedding's already happened, but I didn't really intro or anything. And I knew when I started it, I was so into a deadline, and that often puts me in a bit of a weird headspace. But as I've been editing this, because I edit as I go along, what I found interesting is this vlog isn't just serving as a creative journal. It's also kind of a mood diary. I didn't realise how much my brain wasn't in a good space whilst doing this project until going back over those clips and hearing the way I've been talking and hearing my tone, and yeah, I wasn't in a good space for this. It's not because of the project, I don't think. I mean, partly when I do a project I like to start it and finish it in one swoop, and that wasn't possible for this particular project. So hopefully I have managed to edit it into a cohesive, coherent story, and I hope you enjoy my first ever commission. Now, to be clear, when I say commission, I mean my sister came to me asking if I would make this vision of a dress that she had, and she actually offered to pay for the materials and my labour be her birthday present this year. And I said, don't be silly, I'll pay for the materials as well. So it's her birthday present. I didn't actually make any money on this. And in terms of like briefing, I was told strapless, loose-ish, but kind of form-fitting, floor length, with a matching scarf in satin, in that shade of blue that she used to have her ballet leotard in. That shade was Kingfisher blue, and I actually have a preferred satin shop. I think it's called Midland Fabric. I'll link it below. But yeah, we went on there and found the perfect satin for her vision. We then spent ages looking on Google images, quite frankly, at different dresses, different silhouettes, trying to get the vibes of what she was envisioning. It became very clear very quickly to me that there isn't a pattern out there that matches her vision, and I was going to have to self-draft this, and also it was going to have to be on the bias. Now, I have sewn on the bias before. Typically corsets are made on the bias, and I've done at least my Cinderella one, but I've never done a whole dress. I am aware of certain things, like it will stretch on the bias. It's why you typically hang skirts after you cut them to let them settle. So I knew that after I cut out my pieces, I was going to want to let them hang for 24 hours to make sure they'd stretched as much as they were going to before I sewed them together. But hold up, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's rewind a bit and look at how I actually went about drafting this pattern. Now, I took my sister's measurements and I actually added a couple of inches to these already where it was fitted, and if it was meant to be a bit more loose, I added more. What exactly, I can't tell you. I just went with vibes. This is a very simple pattern. You just have one front piece and one back piece, and so 2 inches would give you your half-inch seam allowance. Usually I sew with a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, but pattern drafting, half inch is just easier for the maths. And even though it's just a simple 2-piece pattern, you don't want to halve your measurements exactly. For instance, your front bust measurement will be bigger than your back bust measurement, if you like, because we have boobs. So to accommodate this, you want to subtract your under bust away from your bust measurement, and that difference needs to be on the front pattern, not the back pattern. Once I was happy with the measurements, I just simply pinned them out on the fabric on the fold to make sure each piece was symmetrical. Now, at first I did this a little bit wrong and I forgot to halve my measurements. I did this step twice. I pinned it out and then had to repin it. But it's fine. I didn't cut the fabric. I did realise before that point. Now, because this is a slippery fabric, you are advised to baste all your seams before running under the machine. I wanted to avoid that, and I do have what are known as satin pins. These are slightly more delicate pins that are designed to go under the machine. It would have been easier if I'd just done a running stitch and then put that under the machine, pulling the seams as I go. I didn't realise this, but when you sew on the bias, you need to stretch out the seams as you sew them. so that you don't get this weird dragging or drapey look. This did cause issues.
Several days later.
I need that. Reach. Oh. Huh. Oh no. I'm not sure I can do this right now. Is it on the dress too? Ooh. I'll explain. So I've just spent a really long time sewing this really gently because it's on the bias. And now the tension was completely wrong. I'm now worried about the dress. One sec. The dress is fine. So what has changed since then? Honestly, all I've done is done a different project. I don't know what's gone on there. Like, I'm looking at my machine and it looks set up exactly how... Well, clearly not. Take two, I suppose. I'm still getting used to filming myself, apparently. I've just sewn that again, and yes, the tension's way better. The only thing I really changed, I rethreaded the machine just in case, but yeah, it's just how I fed it through. But I could have sworn I was feeding it through the same way I was when I did the dress, and the dress is fine. But yeah, maybe I was a bit acting too much like a walking foot. I don't have a walking foot. I manually feed my fabric through. I'm not gonna like really worry about getting this whole seam out, but it is loose, so it shouldn't be the hardest thing in the world to get out. The reason why I just sewed it again, so at the end of the day, if I do overlap that tiny bit of thread on the inside, you're not gonna see it, and it's the right colour. And this way, I don't have to repin the whole thing. I'll show you how loose it is. Like, I don't know if you can see, you've got one decent row of stitching like here. The lower one is looking good. You see like the little loops raising up on that. So I really don't know what was so different about my technique. This is why it's like unthreading more than it's unpicking. Like, unpicking, you kind of break stitches more often than not, but this feels like I'm unthreading, like, or I'm taking out running stitches almost. Like, it honestly isn't like anything. But you can do this to an extent, but like, it's, the tension's right. Usually it's like really short bursts of it, but this is like, wow, I've unpicked all of that so far. I've done this scarf longer than my sister actually requested it, because the request was to start and stop just above the butt. So I thought I'd do it longer. I'll turn it through, I'll press it, I'll stitch up one end, and then she can choose how long it is, and then I'll hand sew closed the other end. Where have I got to go? Okay. Oh, I did cut it earlier to help me run it through the machine, because obviously the tension was weird and it was kind of gathering the scarf up, and obviously I wanted it nice and flat, so I cut it to try and release some of that tension. In theory, this is a very simple dress. However, it is on the bias. It is satin on the bias. Now, satin on the bias is actually kind of helpful because by cutting stuff on the bias, it doesn't fray as much. So it's not that it doesn't fray, it does, just nowhere near as much as cutting on the straight. So there's that as a challenge. So it's slippery, it's on the bias, so it's stretchy. You don't want to stretch it out. But it also shows every dip. And I mean, that's kind of the point of these dresses, why you do them on the bias, so they drape and they hang and they cling in the nice way. So like they hug your body correctly. But being so simple, And this is why I think people get confused with like wedding dresses and stuff. Being so simple is actually harder to execute sometimes, like, because there's nowhere to hide. So a nice high quality finish on a simple garment is often a lot harder to achieve. So I quite enjoy this bit. That's just the thread from the other side. Did I mention it's a really long scarf? Why did you stop there? Ah, that caught. I'll use this as tacking thread at some point, I'm sure. My brain's been all over the place recently. I do think it's this project, not because it's hard, not because of anything like that, but because I can't start and finish this in one nice swoop. I have to get it to a certain point, the point I'd call first fit, and I already know it's huge because it's grown so much, like the fabric stretched so much. Instead of trying to like make it smaller now though and like doing the work twice, I was just like, it's enough to get on my sister and then I can just pin it out. But yeah, I've been doing other little like scrap projects in between, and I don't like doing that. When I do any project, if I'm honest, I like to start it and finish it in one. I don't want to do something in between. I don't want several projects on the go at once. It drives me insane. But sometimes you can't control that. Oh no. No, no, no. No, not on. Are you sticky? This fabric is not going to like an iron. I personally think it does need a press, but I think I might do is check my sister what she prefers. Oh, I've got you out for no reason then. Yeah, because I've got so many questions for her, I needed to see it really. I think I'm just going to stop there until I can do the first fit in a week and a half.
2 weeks later.
First fit done, just time to sew those adjustments. Once I got the garment fitting properly and tried it on myself, I'm only an inch difference in measurements from my sister. Yeah, that's when the drapiness was apparent. So here is me ripping out all those seams and sewing them again. It was worth it though. It looked much better doing the proper technique and not the lazy method. Finished dress. As you can see, she fully tried and tested that dress at the reception and she looked stunning. She really did. Even if she did spill something on it quite literally immediately as soon as she got to the wedding. But no, she looked amazing, and yeah, it definitely looked better on her than it did on me. Not my style, but it looked great. So yeah, if you enjoyed this commission draft from scratch content, maybe I'll do some more in the future. Let me know. And I'll see if I can draw inspiration for something. If you enjoyed this video, come again and hobby along with me. Bye! So I hope what you see you'll find entertaining. Stop! That's so